Welcome to Darkness in the Night. Tonight, we'll follow 7 young thrill seekers, ghost hunters chasing fame and money. But they don't know that inside that abandoned mansion, something is already waiting, something not meant for the living. It was an early night at the beginning of the month. The sky over Hanoi hung low, gray and damp, the wind carrying a light drizzle. Kim Ma Street, usually crowded after dark, felt strangely deserted around house number 300. Behind a row of ancient sao trees stood a 3-story French villa, its walls stained with moss. Iron gate rusted and bent as if ready to collapse. Inside, darkness gaped like the open mouth of a beast. Min Kwan's group pulled over. 7 people, 7 flashlights, and a GoPro strapped tightly to Kwan's head. The wind slipped through, carrying a musty stench mixed with the sour tang of long stagnant rainwater. Lin Kai tightened her jacket and shivered. That smell, it gives me chills," she whispered, eyes flicking toward the iron gate. Kwan smirked, half mocking, half confident, tall and lean, his black shirt was speckled with dust. "Scared already? If we capture something creepy tonight, that's 1,000,000 views easy. Think about the cash." Laughter burst out but quickly died when the gate screeched open with a piercing metallic cry. They exchanged nervous glances. Kwan pushed hard, and the gate swung wide, revealing a yard carpeted with dry leaves. Duck An raised his camera, the cold light sweeping across the wall. Moss bloomed like bruises on a corpse. The house stood still, save for the faint drip of rain on a cracked roof tile. They stepped inside. Shoes clacked on fractured tiles, echoing hollowly. The air was thick, stale, heavy with time. A rat darted past, making Nok An gasp. Tuan Kiet chuckled, adjusting his backpack. "Relax, I'll be the ghost tonight. Look, tie this string to the window latch. Pull it, and boom, instant scare. The audience will lose it." Their laughter bounced through the empty rooms, faint and eerie, like something laughing back. Duck An set up the tripod, fine-tuned the mic, hung, fatty, plopped onto the floor, munching snacks, the greasy smell mixing with the damp air. Bao Nan, pale and sleepless, pulled an EMF meter from her pocket. The needle twitched once, then stilled. Her voice was calm, almost cold. "Energy's quiet, but something here feels off." No one listened. Kwan signaled to start filming. The GoPro beam cut through the gloom, lighting an old staircase. The wooden steps sagged, some stained dark, the railing streaked with what looked like dried blood. Lin Kai grabbed Nok An's hand. "Be careful, they say a whole family died here." Nok An forced a smile, eyes darting nervously. They climbed. Each creak of wood sounded like a low groan beneath their feet. Kwan spoke into the camera, voice low and steady. "This house has been abandoned since 1972. After an unsolved massacre, locals claim they hear a child crying from the 3rd floor every night. Tonight, we'll find out if it's true." As his words faded, a gust slammed through. A door upstairs creaked open on its own. Everyone froze. Tuan Kiet yanked his string, still coiled in his hand. His face drained of color. I didn't pull it." Cold air spilled out from the doorway, thick with the stink of rot. Nok An stepped back, trembling. Kwan gave a strained smile, forcing composure. "Probably just wind. It's an old house. Keep filming." Bao Nan glanced at her EMF meter. The needle was jumping wildly now. Sweat glistened on her forehead. "It's not the wind, there's something here," she whispered, eyes locked on the dark doorway. Duck An panned the camera upward. The corridor stretched long and narrow, too long for the flashlight to reach the end. Dust floated like drifting ashes. At the farthest door, something quivered, just a slight tremor. No breeze, no one near. The camera's faint grinding mixed with their ragged breathing. Lin Kai clutched Kwan's arm, shoulders shaking. "Can we go back? It's freezing," she murmured, tears glimmering in her eyes. Kwan turned. The light from his headlamp caught his face, tense, pale, determined. "No, we're going up. If we get this shot, we'll be famous." Footsteps echoed heavily, each stair creaking under their weight. The moment they reached the second floor, the door behind them slammed shut with a deep, echoing bang. Hung, Fatty, spun around, panting. Who closed the door? No one answered. The air thickened. Flashlights swept across the walls, revealing smeared marks, tiny handprints trailing down the hallway. A metallic tang hung in the air, the scent of rust and old blood. They stood frozen for several seconds. Then, from the far end of the hall, came a faint click, followed by what sounded like a child's giggle fading into the dark. Quan raised a shaky hand, signaling to keep filming. Duck Ann whispered, voice trembling. Did you hear that? Someone's laughing. No reply, only the soft patter of rain against the windows, like someone whispering outside. Suddenly, Lin Chi's flashlight flickered, blinked, and went out. The entire hallway plunged into darkness. They gasped and fumbled, bumping into gear. Duck Ann managed to switch his light back on. Its beam revealed a single small footprint. Wet on the tiles, it had only 4 toes. That's impossible, someone muttered, voice breaking the silence. They all looked down, following the line of wet footprints leading toward the last room at the end of the corridor. The door there was slightly ajar, just wide enough to show a dark silhouette standing still inside. The group held their breath. The figure was small, childlike, but its arms were unnaturally long, almost touching the floor. Nok An let out a muffled cry, biting her lip to keep quiet. Bao Nan lifted the EMF meter. The needle spun violently, whining with static. Duck An's trembling hands moved the camera. The footage blurred, then cleared just as the door slowly creaked open. Untouched by anyone, a rush of cold air swept through, carrying that same sickly metallic odor. Then came the laughter, high, sweet, and chilling, spilling across the second floor. They stumbled back, hearts racing. Lin Kai tripped on a stair, nearly falling. Quan shouted hoarsely, fear cracking his voice. Downstairs, everyone, go, now. Their footsteps thundered, mingling with screams and that eerie laughter, twisting together into a distorted symphony. Duck An clutched the camera and glanced back one last time. Through the lens, he caught the door slamming shut, and from the narrow gap beneath it, something crawled fast across the floor toward them, a blur like a shadow come alive. Outside, the rain began to pour. The house seemed to breathe, each gust of wind through the cracks sounding like a groan. As they reached the ground floor, the wooden door creaked open again, slowly, deliberately, as if inviting them back inside. And in the final frame of the GoPro, under a dim light, stood the silhouette of a small child on the stairs, head bowed, hair dripping wet, tiny feet leaving glistening prints across the old tile. The night swallowed them whole. Only the faint sound of a child's laughter lingered, echoing from the second floor, through the damp air, through the endless rain. The group stumbled down the stairs, flashlights swinging wildly. Footsteps echoed through the hollow space, tangled with their frantic breaths. Lin Kai clung to Min Quan's arm, trembling, tears spilling down her cheeks. I'm done. I'm not filming anymore, she gasped, her voice breaking against the hiss of wind slipping through the cracks in the door. Hung, Fatty, wheezed as he rummaged through his backpack for a water bottle. His hands trembled so badly that the cap slipped off, rolling across the floor into the dark. It hit the wall with a faint clink, then silence. Duck An lifted his head, eyes following the sound. The GoPro on Quan's head still glowed, flickering dimly through clouds of dust. For a brief second, it caught a blur, a shadow gliding past the second floor landing. Swift as a gust of wind, Bao Nan stood frozen, her lips parting soundlessly. Someone just went by there. Quan spun around, eyes sharp with fear. No one's there, it's just the light reflecting. That's all, he snapped. But his voice wavered. The air inside the house felt heavier, thick with damp and the metallic scent of rust, something sour and faintly bloody. Nok An wiped the sweat from her forehead. Her flashlight swept across an old, crooked oil painting hanging on the living room wall. It was a faded portrait of a family of 4. Every face was scratched beyond recognition, except the child in the middle, whose round, dark eyes stared out sharply. Lin Kai hissed under her breath. "That painting, it's looking at us." No one spoke. They all turned toward it. And sure enough, when the light moved, the eyes in the painting seemed to shift too. Following them, they stepped back instinctively. Duck An reached out to take it down. But the moment his fingers touched the frame, the canvas disintegrated into dust, falling apart piece by piece. Behind it, the cracked wall was bare, except for one small handprint. Dark red, as if painted in dried blood. The air seemed to stop moving. The sound of wind outside vanished. Only a suffocating silence remained. Quan swallowed hard, forcing a shaky laugh. Probably just props from whoever filmed here before. This house must have had plenty of rumors. But his tone had lost all confidence. Bao Nan glanced at her EMF meter. The needle was spiking erratically, twitching like it was alive. "There's something strange here, not like before," she murmured. Before anyone could reply, the old light bulb dangling from the ceiling began to flicker. Rapid and violent, then went out completely. Darkness swallowed the room. Duck An switched on the emergency lamp. The weak light spilled across the opposite wall, revealing faint words scratched deep into the plaster, letters uneven and jagged, as if carved by nails. "Get out!" Everyone froze. Lin Kai screamed, her voice slicing through the dark. Nok An grabbed her, stammering. It was written before. It has to be. It's not new." Tuan Kiet tried to steady his breathing and ran to the back door. His hand met a freezing metal handle. He yanked hard, but the door didn't move. He kicked it. The wood groaned but held firm, locked tight from the outside. "Why is it locked? It wasn't before." Quan rushed over to help. Together they shoved, and the door creaked open just an inch. From that narrow gap seeped a chill, a wave of cold. Heavy air carrying a sweet, rotten stench, the smell of something long dead. They recoiled instantly. Then, from the hallway, came a faint sound, something wet hitting the floor. A soft, sticky drip. Duck An turned his flashlight that way. Water stains spread slowly across the tiles, forming a thin, shimmering trail. None of them had brought water. Yet the floor was slick and dark. The trail slithered toward the staircase leading up to the 3rd floor. From above, where the light could barely reach, came the sound of bare feet, slow, wet, deliberate. Step, step. Min Quan raised his GoPro, his voice catching in his throat. Is someone up there?" There was no answer, only the soft, wet patter of tiny footsteps, coming closer and closer, step by step, descending the stairs. Lin Kai backed away, clutching her boyfriend's arm, lips trembling. Don't look up," she whispered. But Duck An looked. In the dim beam of light, at the bend of the staircase, a small pale foot appeared, mud-streaked and lifelessly white. Then another. No body, no child. Just 2 tiny feet slowly, deliberately walking down, as if pulled by an invisible string. Everyone froze. Duck An's camera slipped from his hands and hit the floor with a dry clack. For a moment, there was only silence, until a child's giggle echoed from the space between the stairs. The laughter spread through the house, crawling up the walls, circling like a whisper trapped in the wind. Nok An covered her ears, shaking violently. "No, this isn't real, we're dreaming?" The door on the 2nd floor slammed shut above them, a violent crash like a hammer striking stone. Duck An bent down, fumbling for the camera, his hands shaking so badly that the image wobbled. In the frame, the small shadow was gone. Only a trail of wet footprints led upward into darkness. Min Quan swallowed hard, his voice rough. "Go back up, I want to see what's messing with us." Lin Kai screamed, tears streaming down her face. "Are you crazy? Staying here means we die." Quan didn't respond. He turned and started climbing again, the light on his head flickering with every step. The others hesitated, frozen in place, before reluctantly following one by one. Bao Nan came last. Her eyes lingered on the wall where the words "Get out" were carved. She lowered her head and whispered softly, her voice barely a breath. "It's trying to warn us." A cold gust swept through the hall, whipping her hair into her face. And within that wind, she heard it, faint, close, almost brushing her ear. "Stay and play with me." Everything went still. The GoPro light blinked once, twice, then went out completely. Darkness thickened, heavy and suffocating, carrying the stench of metal and the sound of their ragged breaths as the house seemed to close in around them. On the second floor, the door that once opened by itself was now glowing faintly. A soft, yellow light seeped through the cracks, as if someone inside was waiting. Quan narrowed his eyes and climbed toward it, unaware that what waited that night was not light. The hallway echoed again, not with laughter alone this time, but with a woman's hoarse, broken voice layered beneath the child's. "Don't take my child, give it back to me." Then everything went black. The house fell silent. Outside, the night pressed thick and endless, swallowing even the sound of their hearts. And when the GoPro flickered back on for a brief second, its final frame captured a tiny, pale hand clutching the stair rail, pulling downward with sudden force. The last sound was a scream, raw and shattering, tearing through the darkness. That night, at 300 Kim Ma Street, the house gained another voice. The wooden staircase groaned under every step. No one dared to speak. A chorus of panicked breaths and pounding hearts filled the air. The second floor was dim, but at the end of the hallway, a faint yellow glow leaked from one of the rooms, flickering like candlelight. The smell of burning incense mixed with something metallic and sour, making everyone shiver. Min Quan raised a hand, signaling them to stop. He pressed a finger to his lips. A soft click broke the silence. Duck Ann had turned the camera back on. The screen flickered, unsteady, capturing the long corridor lined with decaying doors and swaying curtains. On the walls, dark water stains formed twisted shapes, faces distorted in silent screams. Bao Nan whispered, her voice trembling. "That light, how is it still on? The power's been out since we came in." No one answered. Quan took a deep breath and pushed the glowing door open. The room reeked of incense. On an old wooden table sat a bronze censer, half-burned red candles, and a faded photograph. The picture showed a woman in a black ao dai, holding a small child. Both looked straight into the camera, but the woman's eyes were gone, hollow, as if someone had carved them out with a knife. Lin Kai gasped, covering her mouth. "Oh my God, who would do that?" Nok An turned, her flashlight trembling in her hand. Heavy curtains hung over every wall, as though hiding something. She reached out and pulled one aside. Behind it wasn't a wall. It was a mirror. A large, cracked mirror, its surface fogged with dust and fingerprints. Duck Ann brought the camera closer. The reflection caught their pale faces in the dim light. But what stared back wasn't quite them. Their reflections were distorted, skin gray, eyes sunken, lips colorless, and behind them, in the middle, stood someone else, a child, still, head bowed. "Who's behind us?" Hung, Fatty, croaked, his voice cracking. They spun around. Nothing. The space behind them was empty. But in the mirror, the child remained. It slowly lifted its head. Empty black sockets where eyes should be. A torn smile stretching impossibly wide. Lin Kai screamed, dropping her flashlight. The candles flickered violently, then went out. Darkness swallowed the room. Footsteps, soft, wet, unhurried, circled them on the wooden floor. Then, a child's voice spoke, clear and sweet, yet chilling to the bone. "Mom, I'm here." Nok An broke down sobbing. Min Quan staggered back, voice shaking. "Who's there? What do you want?" A shadow darted past them, quick as smoke. The candles suddenly reignited, blazing bright. The light revealed dozens of tiny handprints smeared on the walls, dark red, layered over one another. The air turned icy. The metallic smell thickened until it stung their throats. Duck Ann panned the camera wildly, and the child was standing right in front of the lens. It stared directly into the camera. The corners of its torn mouth curled into a grin. Then the flames vanished all at once, plunging the room into complete silence. The laughter stopped. Only the hammering of terrified hearts remained. Bao Nan collapsed to her knees, clutching her head. This isn't an abandoned house, it's a grave, someone's grave. Her words froze them. Duck On's camera caught the photo still lying on the table. Beneath it, a faded line of text glowed faintly under the dying light. Nguyen Thi Tin died 1984 with her son. From the hallway came the sound of crying, soft, choking sobs of a child. Then, the low, hoarse voice of a woman followed. "Give me back, my child." The door slammed shut with a thunderous crack, splintering the frame. The group screamed, pounding on it, but it wouldn't move. The GoPro kept recording, the image shaking violently. In the reflection of the broken mirror, a single black eye stared back at them. Min Quan screamed, voice raw with terror. "Open the door, please, open it." No answer. Only a lullaby began to hum through the dark, soft, trembling, and eerily tender. "Hush now, sleep tight." Then it faded. The silence returned, dense, absolute. Only their ragged breathing filled the void. On the other side of the shattered mirror, the child's face appeared again. This time, it smiled. Slowly, it lifted one pale hand and tapped 3 times against the glass. "Talk, talk, talk?" The mirror quivered, then shattered completely. Shards fell like glittering eyes in the dark, catching the last flicker of dying light. When the final gust of wind passed through, only an empty room remained. The camera lay sideways on the floor, still recording the hollow sound of the wind howling through the broken frame. Outside, the Hanoi night carried on as usual. But inside 300 Kim Ma Street, something had just awakened. The next morning, Kim Ma Street buzzed with traffic as usual. Sunlight filtered through rows of ancient trees, casting soft shadows over the old French villa at number 300. The same house 7 young thrill-seekers had entered the night before, chasing million-view fame. But now, the iron gate hung half open, and inside, there was nothing but silence. Around 8 o'clock, a motorbike driver named Tu Fat stopped by the curb. He was the first to notice something was off. The door was ajar, even though everyone in the neighborhood knew that house had been sealed for years. The air carried a faint moldy scent mixed with something burnt, like leftover incense. Tu approached cautiously and called out, "Anyone in there?" No answer, only the dry rustle of dead leaves in the wind. Squinting through the gate, he saw a torn backpack, some loose cables, and a small black object lying on the ground. He bent down and picked it up, a GoPro camera, its red light still blinking. A chill ran down his spine. If the light was on, it meant someone had just been there. His hand trembled as he pressed play. The screen flickered, dark frames, the hiss of wind, and then, faintly, a child's laughter. Tu yelped, dropping the camera to the ground. Half an hour later, police arrived. They cordoned off the area, yellow tape glinting in the morning light. A young officer, wearing gloves, sealed the GoPro into an evidence bag. Curious residents crowded around the gate, whispering. Some claimed they'd heard screams the night before. Others swore they saw flickering lights on the 3rd floor. An old woman selling tea said she'd clearly heard someone singing a lullaby past midnight. Inside, the investigation team swept the house. Their flashlights cut through the dusty air. The smell of decay clung to every breath. Scattered across the floor were bits of equipment, microphones, broken flashlights, tangled wires. The place was freezing, though the sun outside was blazing. One investigator crouched and picked up a crumpled yellowed sheet of paper near the wall. The writing was jagged, scrawled in haste. "It's not my child." He frowned and handed it to his superior. The commander squinted, his voice low. "Check the house, every floor." Footsteps echoed across the wooden floorboards as they moved room to room. Everything was empty, but on the 2nd floor, where the shattered mirror stood, they found tiny handprints smeared on the walls. pale and dry like old blood. Near the window, a set of adult footprints led toward the balcony and stopped midway, as though someone had stood there for hours, staring down at the street. A young officer called out, his voice shaking. "Sir, over here?" He pointed to the corner of the room, where a cracked phone lay face up. When they powered it on, the screen came alive, filled with short clips, all titled, "Ghost Hunt, House 300 Kim Ma." The final video, exactly 7 minutes long, opened with Min Kwan's laughter. 1 million views, guaranteed. The room fell silent, no one spoke. Later that afternoon, the equipment was taken back to the station. The GoPro was charged, its footage slowly downloaded frame by frame. The team gathered around the monitor as the first video played, shaky lights. Laughter, the group tying cables to doors. But 10 minutes in, as the camera panned across the staircase, a pale figure flickered between two door frames. It wasn't a trick of the light. It stood still, watching. They slowed the footage. The figure didn't fade. It stared directly into the lens, two hollow black eyes, lifeless and deep. Then it tilted its head, smiling faintly, before the video feed distorted into static. The screen went black. The lights in the office flickered once, just enough to send a shiver through the room. Someone whispered, "Glitch, right? It's just static interference, right?" But no one answered. Everyone's gaze stayed fixed on the frozen frame, a pale face filling half the screen. Lips torn, eyes empty sockets. The commander exhaled, heavy and grim. "Pause everything. No press release yet. Get me a list of the missing. Find their families." As the team packed up, one young officer lingered behind, staring at the monitor. He rewound to the last few seconds, watching closely. Then he saw it, something others hadn't noticed. In the reflection of the cracked mirror behind the group, there was a woman. She wasn't one of the 7. Her hair hung long and disheveled, her face faint and translucent. She sat by the window, staring outward. When he zoomed in, her lips moved slightly, as if whispering. One more, still inside. His blood ran cold. He yanked the hard drive from the system and rushed out to find his superior. But before he reached the door, the fluorescent lights above flickered and went out completely. In the darkness, the GoPro lying on the desk powered on by itself. The red light blinked. From the computer's speakers came a faint child's voice. "Mom, I miss you?" A gust of wind slipped through the cracks in the door, followed by a mechanical hum as the monitor lit up on its own. Across the black screen, new words began to appear, typed slowly, one by one. "We haven't left yet." Outside, Hanoi's morning noise continued, bright and oblivious. But inside the house at 300 Kim Ma, the pale figure in the hallway was still waiting. Night fell as light rain began to patter over the cracked tiles of the old mansion at 300 Kim Ma Street. Street lights cast a faint amber glow across the rusted iron gate, illuminating a worn yellow warning sign. After gathering evidence earlier that morning, the investigation team had decided to return once more. There were still details in the footage they couldn't explain. A small white truck stopped in front of the gate. 5 officers in reflective vests stepped out, helmets on, flashlights, cameras, and a high-sensitivity EMF reader in hand. They spoke quietly as they entered, their voices low, as if afraid to disturb the heavy stillness surrounding the house. "I thought we sealed it off this morning. Why come back now?" The tall man in the rear, voice rough from cigarettes, muttered under his breath. "Emergency order." Another replied, "There's encrypted data we couldn't decode. Headquarters wants EMF readings from inside." His flashlight swept across the yard, thick with fallen leaves, pausing on the rusted house number barely hanging from the wall, 300. The gate was still slightly ajar. A gust of wind slipped through, hissing like a long breath. The leader pushed it open carefully. The hinges screamed. A drawn-out, metallic wail that made every hair on their neck stand up. They stepped in, lights flickering over mold-stained walls. The air was unnaturally cold, damp, and filled with a faint burnt smell, like incense mixed with something metallic. something like dried blood. They moved in a line, boots creaking against the warped floorboards. Then the last man stopped abruptly and whispered, "Did you guys hear that?" "Hear what?" "Footsteps, small ones, upstairs." Everyone froze. The house went dead quiet. Only the rain ticking against the eaves. Then, faintly, from the third floor came a rhythmic creak, like someone gently rocking an old wooden cradle. The captain gestured to start recording. Static filled their headsets, behind the wind's hiss. There was another sound, a slow, faint breathing that didn't belong to any of them. His brow furrowed. He signaled for the team to move on. The first and second floors were empty. Only the room with the shattered mirror remained, its walls still covered with tiny handprints. The flashlights swept past, revealing new ones, wet, bright red. One officer bent down to touch them and hissed through his teeth, "They're still damp, God, like they were just made." The air thickened. Sweat broke across their foreheads despite the cold. They pressed forward toward the staircase leading to the third floor. No one had gone up there yet. Every wooden step groaned like a cry. Dust and cobwebs danced in the flickering light. At the top, a long narrow corridor stretched ahead. A single door at the far end swayed open and shut in the wind. Old picture frames hung crooked along the walls. In one painting, a woman in a black dye held a child. Her face was scratched away, but the child's face remained sharp, its large black eyes staring straight out. One man whispered hoarsely, "Hey, did that kid just blink?" All turned. The beam of light hit the painting. The child's head had turned, facing outward now, a faint smile curling on its lips. The young officer gasped, shining his light closer. The frame crashed to the floor with a clang, revealing behind it a small square hole, a hidden attic entrance. A cold draft swept through, heavy with a nauseating, metallic stench. The captain peered inside with his flashlight. Something glinted. He reached in with a gloved hand and pulled out a tiny silver bracelet engraved with the name, BNHI. The metal was icy, sticky with dark, dried stains. Just then, the EMF detector shrieked. The green light flipped to crimson, beeping wildly. The shrill alarm filled the hallway. And from the far end came a burst of laughter, a child's high, gleeful giggle echoing from every direction. One man stammered, "Who's there? Who's here?" No response, only the sound of tiny feet scurrying across the wooden floor. Flashlights swung wildly. One beam caught a blur of white fabric disappearing around the corner. They chased it, bursting into the last room. But it was empty. The walls were cracked, and in the center stood a broken baby crib. Scratched into the wood of the crib were uneven words, carved by fingernails. "Mom, please don't lock me in here." The youngest officer collapsed to his knees. Pointing under the crib, something moved. When the lights hit it, they saw a small wooden doll, headless, hands raised as if to cover its face. But the moment the light touched it, the doll turned on its own, facing them. A child's laughter rang out again, this time, right beside their ears. A door slammed open, the wind roaring through, snuffing every light. Darkness engulfed them. Small footsteps pattered close, circling them, followed by a soft lullaby sung in a woman's trembling voice. "Hush now, sleep, my child." The captain's voice cracked into a shout. "Get out, everyone out, now." They bolted down the stairs. One flashlight sputtered back to life, its beam flashing across the walls as they ran. At the main door, the iron lock had latched itself shut. Inside, the lullaby continued, woven with the sound of a child crying. One man smashed the lock with his rifle butt. The door burst open. They stumbled out into the rain, gasping, drenched in sweat. When they turned back, through the narrow gap of the door, they saw her, a woman in a white dye, standing motionless on the third floor landing, a child in her arms. Lightning flashed, revealing a faint smile across her pale lips. Thunder crashed, then, silence. When the storm finally cleared, the team left. They carried with them the tiny silver bracelet engraved, BNHI, and a 7-minute audio recording. On it, A woman's whisper could be heard. "It hasn't left yet." A child's laughter followed, and then, abruptly, the tape went dead. The next morning at district headquarters, the investigation team gathered in a dim room, reviewing the recovered audio and footage from the night before. Only 3 people were present: the captain, the audio technician, and Lieutenant N, the youngest on the team, also the one who had first heard the child's footsteps. The video flickered, shaky and fragmented, with only a few clear frames. Through the static came the sound of their own voices, breathing, rain, muffled chatter. Then, around the 3rd minute, the audio warped. Beneath the distortion, a woman's whisper rose softly, drawn out and haunting. "It hasn't gone anywhere." The technician rewound, increased the volume. The voice was faint but unmistakable, definitely not one of theirs. It was calm, slow, almost like a lullaby. But a few seconds later, another voice broke through, this time belonging to a man from the team. "Guys, don't leave me behind." All 3 froze. That voice, they recognized it. It was Min, the technician who had vanished inside the house the night before. In the incident report, his status was listed as missing after flashlight signal lost. The captain clenched his fists. His face drained of color. He gestured to pause the playback. But through the headset, a faint static continued, and under it, another breathing pattern, slow, steady, coming from right behind them. "Turn it off," the captain whispered. The technician obeyed, fumbling for the controls, yet the sound didn't stop. The lullaby began again, this time not from the speakers, but from the hallway outside. "Hush now, go to sleep, don't cry anymore. My child." All 3 turned. The meeting room door was still shut. The lights dim. Lieutenant N stepped forward and cracked it open. The hallway was empty, except for a small silver bracelet lying on the floor. It was the one engraved BNHI, the same piece of evidence they had sealed in storage the previous night. The bracelet was ice cold, smeared with something dark and wet. Under the flickering light, new words were visible, freshly scratched into the metal. "I haven't gone home." Suddenly, the computer speakers came alive again without anyone touching them. The monitor flashed on. The final seconds of the footage appeared, the camera pointing upward toward the 3rd floor ceiling. In the frame, a figure leaned over, the long hair of a woman covering her face. Beneath her chin, a pair of tiny hands clutched the collar of the cameraman's shirt. Then the camera fell, flipping upside down, just long enough to capture the woman carrying the child toward the window, still humming that lullaby. The last sound was a hoarse whisper. Close, too close, as if spoken right next to the listener's ear. "It's looking for its mother, have you seen her?" The screen went black. No one in the room spoke. But the next morning, when the duty officer came to unlock the meeting room, he found only the silver bracelet lying in the center of the table. The 3 investigators were gone. Beside the bracelet was a sheet of paper, written hastily in trembling ink. "Do not open the 3rd floor door. BNHI is still there." 3 weeks after the disappearance of the investigation team, the mansion at 300 Kim Ma once again became the center of attention. Newspapers covered it briefly, then went silent. Locals began to avoid the street, especially after midnight. Sometimes, they said, a lullaby drifted faintly through the wind, mingled with the soft laughter of a child from the top floor. In the midst of that uneasy quiet, another group of YouTubers decided to pay a visit. They didn't believe in ghosts, nor in any supernatural explanation for the missing officers. There were only 3 of them: Nam, the owner of the 24-hour exploration channel, Tram, the editor, and Long, the cameraman. Nam was known for videos debunking urban legends, and this time he boldly announced he would decode the Kim Ma mansion in one night. That evening, the sky over Hanoi was pale gray, the air sharp and cold. The old villa stood still beneath tall zai-ku trees, its moss-stained walls and shattered windows staring blankly toward the street. The smell of dampness hung thick, metallic, rusty, and sour, like old blood mixed with decay. "It's freezing, and it's only 5 o'clock. Tram murmured, clutching her jacket tighter. Her eyes flicked nervously toward the third floor. Nam chuckled, half teasing, half smug. If you're scared, you can wait outside. Just don't scream into the mic later and mess up the audio. Long said nothing. He simply lifted his camera and panned slowly across the cracked windows. Through the lens, for a split second, something faint, like a figure, seemed to be standing behind a tattered curtain. "Hey, there's someone in there," Long whispered. Nam stepped closer, shining his flashlight through the dusty glass. Nothing but cobwebs and branches scratching against the frame. He smirked. "Light tricks. Happens all the time when filming at night." They set up a small tent in the yard. The wind whistled through the cracks in the doors. Moaning like a voice, Tram stood under the eaves, brushing her hand along the wall where faint red letters were scrawled. "Don't wake it." She flinched and drew her hand back, her pulse quickening. "Nam, have you seen this writing?" Nam bent closer, frowning. "Probably some local prank. The creepier it looks, the better the views. Leave it." When night fell completely, they switched on the lights and began recording. Nam spoke into the microphone. "I'm standing in front of the infamous house at 300 Kim Ma, where an entire investigation team disappeared. Tonight, we'll stay here and see what really happens." Long's camera swept down the dusty hallway. Leaves covered the floor. A shard of broken glass suddenly glinted. When he bent to pick it up, the mirror's surface flashed, showing the reflection of a child with long hair, pale skin, and dark hollow eyes. Long gasped and dropped the shard, which shattered. Nam turned around sharply. "What happened?" Nothing. Slipped," Long muttered, beads of sweat forming on his forehead. They ventured deeper. The air grew thicker, reeking of mold and old iron. The wind through the cracks sounded almost like whispers. Tram's light caught an old family photo on the wall, a young couple. A little girl about 3. And behind them, a woman in a white dye, her face blurred beyond recognition. "That's odd, the photo's burned. But the outline of that woman is still clear," Tram murmured. Nam shrugged. Maybe the lady of the house wanted a cameo. By 10 o'clock, they reached the third floor, the place rumored to be cursed. The wooden stairs groaned with each step. Dust floated thick as fog. Long's flashlight began to flicker. Upstairs, a window banged open, wind tearing through the room. Torn curtains fluttered like pale hands. Papers littered the floor, and in the middle lay a small silver bracelet. Nam picked it up. The engraving read, "BNHI, born 1971. "That looks like the evidence piece from the police report," Tram whispered, trembling. Nam shrugged again and set it down. But as he straightened up, his expression froze. On the wall before him, written in shaky white chalk, were the words, "Mom has come home." No one spoke. The only sound was the rain beginning to fall harder outside, followed by a soft lullaby echoing from above. Yet, according to the blueprints, the mansion only had 3 floors. There was no 4th. "Nam, do you hear that?" Tram's voice quavered. He nodded slowly, eyes locked on the ceiling. A cold wind swept through. The flashlights died. In the darkness, the lullaby continued, slow, heavy, each word dragging like lead. "Hush now, sleep, my child, mommy loves you." The camera light flickered, casting a dim blue glow over their faces, pale, frozen, their eyes empty, as if entranced. Behind them, a figure emerged in the doorway. A woman in a white dye, hair dripping wet, holding something that looked like a headless wooden doll. The wind slammed the door shut. The screen went black. Only the lullaby remained, weaving through the sound of rain, until, abruptly, it stopped. After the lullaby faded, the entire house sank into a suffocating silence. Outside, the rain still poured hard, and the wind whispered through the cracks in the doors like someone murmuring secrets. Nam switched the light back on. The weak beam swept across the stained walls. No one stood in the doorway anymore, only the headless wooden doll lay in the middle of the floor. Its head, somehow, had returned, rolling to a stop beside Tram's foot. She stumbled backward, face pale as chalk, voice trembling. It didn't have a head before. Nam swallowed hard, forcing his tone steady as he turned to Long. Keep filming, don't cut. We'll edit it later, this clip's gonna explode online. Long nodded, but his hands shook violently. The camera trembling. Through the lens, a faint shadow moved in the hallway, as if someone were watching. Tram clutched Nam's arm, her breath uneven. Nam, let's go. Please, something's wrong. Nam tried to grin, though the corners of his mouth twitched. He lifted the GoPro toward the staircase. From below came a sound. Thud, thud, measured. Deliberate, like footsteps slowly climbing upward. The rain outside suddenly stopped. Only the three of them breathing. And those steps, closer. Heavier. The flashlight beam caught the bottom of the stairs just as a pale hand gripped the railing. Followed by the slow rise of a figure, a woman. Drenched hair clinging to her face. White-out eyes soaked through. Her head tilted to one side. In her arms, she still held the wooden doll. Nam raised the light toward her. The beam hit her face. Blurred and dripping, revealing only two hollow, black eyes. Who are you? He stammered. The woman stopped, her head lifting slightly. From her throat came a warped, rasping hum, a broken lullaby. Hush now, don't be afraid. BNHI is such a good girl. Long screamed. The camera fell, spinning before the screen went black. All that remained was chaos, the sound of footsteps, gasps, and someone slamming into the door. Open it, Nam, open it. The front door wouldn't budge. The GoPro, still recording, faced the hallway. Across the walls, white letters began to appear, curling, shaky, as if traced by an unseen hand. Don't leave her alone. A small figure appeared before the lens, a little girl in a white dress. Hair hanging over her face. She tilted her head upward, revealing empty eye sockets and a chilling smile. Her laughter mixed with the fading lullaby, growing louder, sharper. Mommy, they're here again. The child's voice sang sweetly. Should we play with them? Then the woman in the white-out eyes swept past the frame. The flashlight flickered once, then went dark. Days later, the GoPro was found lying just outside the gate, still recording. The final minutes were nothing but black screen and distorted noise. Then, close to the microphone, came a whisper, soft, childlike, too near. Thank you for visiting, but why hasn't anyone gone home yet? The screen cut to black. 3 weeks later, the house at 300 Kim Ma was sealed off. Yet passers-by still claimed they saw flickering lights on the third floor, and heard laughter in the rain. What happened inside 300 Kim Ma was not over. Those who entered were never truly gone. And one question remained. Who was BNHI? And what did the woman in white really want? Stay tuned for part 2 of The House at 300 Kim Ma. When the truth begins to surface, a survivor returns, hidden footage is revealed, and the curse follows someone home. If you want to keep journeying into the darkness of the night, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you won't miss the next chapter. Because sometimes, the stories you think are just fiction are happening right beside you. Disclaimer. The events in this video are fictional, created solely for entertainment and to deliver a chilling storytelling experience. We do not promote superstition or encourage any dangerous actions depicted in the story. Any resemblance to real people, places, or events is purely coincidental. Visuals in this video are dramatized to enhance the atmosphere and viewer immersion. Thank you for watching and supporting Bong Toi Trong Dem.